never gives up. He's always there, fighting for freedom over land and air. G.I. Joe! G.I. Joe is there!
G.I. Joe is the code name for America's daring, highly trained Special Mission Force. Its purpose? To defend human freedom against Cobra, a ruthless terrorist organization determined to rule the world.
He never gives up, he'll stay till the fight's won. G.I. Joe will dare, G.I. Joe.
Hey everybody, Mac here, good morning. We are taking a look at this, the next in our G.I. Joe Classified series, Duke. I only have a few more of these figures before we get through everything that I have right now, before things like Zartan start rolling in, which I have on pre-order, which hopefully I'll be getting fairly soon. But what we have today is Duke, one of the field leaders of the G.I. Joes. And as we can see, the box is pretty much our standard fare for what we get with G.I. Joe. We have a little unique artwork down here of Duke in battle. This artwork right here actually looks very reminiscent of the old card back where the figure was in like a crouched battle position with an explosion going on behind him. The artwork carries over to the side. He's decking Cobra Commander right here. And on back, of course, we have our collage with absolutely no explanation of who the figure is inside. I know, I need to get off that, but it's just so frustrating. Once again, we have these symbols. Not sure what that stands for, but we have our window box with Duke in it. So, we've seen this packaging before. Let's just get our boy open, and we will take a look at G.I. Joe Classified Series Duke. Alright friends, here he is, Duke out of the box, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put the tape measure to him to see how he measures up. I'm guessing he's going to be roughly the same height as the rest of the G.I. Joe figures that we've looked at. And by putting the tape measure to him up front, we see that he comes just under 6.5 inches tall, which does put him at the same scale as the rest of the G.I. Joe figures. Now, taking a look at articulation, you can see his head does a full 360 turn. He can look down. He can look up. He doesn't have much on the side to side, but one thing that I do like is that his head isn't what's swiveling. If you can see that, his neck is actually rocking back and forth. I think that's pretty cool that they put the head on a bit of a the neck on a bit of a rocker too. His arms come out to the sides. He does a full 360 spin. He does have a little bit of a butterfly in there. I don't know if you can see that, but it's not nearly as exaggerated as some of the other figures that we've got. He has bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, wrist swivel. Now this wrist pivots up and down, whereas his right wrist pivots in and out. He has the ab crunch that we've seen with the G.I. Joe figures. He has a waist twist. Legs will come out to do the splits. Thigh swivel. Double jointed knees with some great travel to it. He has a boot cut. And one thing that I really like about the boot cut, if you watch this swivel, let's see if I can focus in on that. If you watch the boot cut swivel, you can see that his shin guard, his shin armor on his boots, actually moves with it. And I like that. I think that's a really cool touch. He has ankle rock back and forth. But once again, this shin guard piece here kind of gets in the way of him coming forward. And he does have side-to-side action in it. So there we have Duke. All of the articulation that we've come to expect from the G.I. Joe Classified figures. Let me get him back together here. And the next thing I want to say is that, like Destro, Duke here is actually a really good representation, a 6-inch translation of the original 3 3/4 vintage figure. Everything from the coloring to the look of him to his uniform, this just translated. It's not like Duke wasn't a gimmick character. He was a field sergeant, I believe, and the whole look of him just looks fantastic, translated really well. The only thing I'm not really a fan of is his head sculpt. And if you take a close look at it here, I don't know exactly quite what's wrong with it. I don't think it's bad. I just don't like it for this figure. He looks too much like the 80s villain from any ski movie. Like, he's the guy on the slopes you have to beat or else he's going to shut down the community center. I don't know. There's just something about it that it doesn't quite look heroic enough to be one of the leaders of the G.I. Joe team. The paint app isn't bad. I really like that scar they put on his forehead. And I don't know if this is common or if you can see this, but on mine, it looks like the eyes are dotted a little too close together. Not quite crossing, but the one on the left, the one on the right just seems to be in a little bit more than the one on the left. Now, like most of our G.I. Joe figures, he does have accessories, and he comes with a few of them. First off, he comes with his backpack, which this is a really cool backpack. I don't remember if the original Duke figure came with a backpack. I think he did. I think it had like a tent or a sleeping bag going across the top. But I really like this one. This is a very realistic looking backpack for a soldier. You have the collapsing shovel here. You have the two cantinas on either side. I like this. This is very utilitarian. This is very basic. There's nothing real fancy about it. And you could definitely see a soldier carrying something like this on his back into battle, across, marching cross country. Although I am aware that current soldiers carry a lot more than this on their back. But I think this is still a decent accessory for Duke. Something else that he has is this little piece here, these binoculars. And these are cool, not just because I like the look of them and they look cool in his hand, and it just gives him different options that some of the other Joes don't. But if you look on the back of his belt right here, you see this little peg hole, and there's a peg right there on his binoculars, that the binoculars will actually fit onto his utility belt. And that's really neat, because I was worried that there wasn't going to be a place to store these until I got the box open and I got him out of his packaging. And I like that. So you can put the binoculars on his belt. The backpack just pegs right into his back, just like with Snake Eyes. So we're on our way that Duke is one of the figures that can pretty much carry all of his accessories with him. The next thing we're going to take a look at is this pistol right here. And just like with most of the other figures in the G.I. Joe series, this is not reminiscent, to my knowledge, of any real-world weaponry. This is just something they made up. As you can see, very, very Fortnitean, so to say. It does resemble something that might be a 45 or maybe a Sig Sauer. Not sure. But Duke, I feel like out of all of the figures that we've opened up so far, except for the special edition Snake Eyes, has some of the most real-world looking weaponry that comes with him. Now, this pistol can go right here on this holster on his hip. I like that. Holstering his sidearm. That's really cool. And next up, we have this, his battle rifle. And once again, I feel like this resembles something that we might see in the real world, except for this laser gun type looking front barrel here. This could easily be something like an AR-15, except, like I said, for this barrel here, and this really shiny gold going across the top. Gotta color coordinate your weapons with your uniform. I mean, that's just standard practice, right? So that's our look at Duke. All in all, he's a decent figure. He's a very solid figure, but there's nothing wow stand out about him. But there wasn't anything really stand out about the original figure either. He was the field leader for the G.I. Joes, he was an essential part of the team, and he'll be an essential part to your collection, because who else is going to lead them into battle against Cobra Commander and Destro, right? Slider, that's it. I was trying to remember who he reminds me of, that face sculpt. He looks like Slider from Top Gun. If you don't know what I'm talking about and you haven't seen Top Gun, what's wrong with you? But tell me that doesn't look like Slider. So, we only have a few more figures to take a look at before we get to the end of my collection of what I have right now, before some of the new wave figures start to come in. Until then, play well, everyone. Stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, thank you for watching.
He never gives up, he'll stay till the fight's won. G.I. Joe will dare. G.I. Joe!